Mounting up for the canal.
Yeah.
We biked the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal runs from Albany to Buffalo, New York. It's 363 miles long, and there's a bike path along most of the way. It's a great tour of upstate New York, and you get to see the cities of Utica, Syracuse, and Rochester along the way. The trail runs right along the canal, which links the Hudson River and the Atlantic Ocean with Lake Erie, one of the 5 Great Lakes. Upon its completion in 1825, the original Erie Canal represented a revolution in transportation. Along the way, you learn that there are really 2 canals. An old canal, which is now little more than a moat, and the new canal, which you can take a boat on the entire width of the state of New York. The old canal was scrapped in the early 1900s in favor of the much wider canal in use today. Originally, the Erie Canal was built alongside the Mohawk River as a separate channel of water because boats at the time did not have any sort of steam or electrical power. When the barge canal was built in the early 1900s, the Mohawk River was dammed and used as part of the canal. Today, the Erie Canal has 35 locks. Locks are basically elevators for boats. They lift and lower boats as they travel down the canal, and they're painted a lovely blue and yellow. So now for a little gear explanation. I wish I had taken more pictures of the bike and the gear on it, but this is what we're working with. So on the side of the bike, you first see panniers. These are bags that you attach to the back of your bike, and this is where we put all of our clothing, maybe a book, the drone, stuff like that. Then, on top of the bike, you have the sleeping bag, sleeping pad, and tent, which we used for 4 nights out of the journey. And then finally, you'll have a water bottle or something. And we're not experts. This is not the gear setup that a really hardcore cyclist would have, and that's okay. We did it anyway. Don't make the mistake of underrating the Mohawk River. Schenectady, New York is where we spent our first night. The home of General Electric, known as the place beyond the pines, it is a charming small city with a history that goes back to the Netherlands. We started from Bethlehem, our hometown, and biked up the Hudson River through Albany. Our westward trajectory began in Cohoes, where a path along the Mohawk River winds its way through the capital region. We're now eating the first crispy chicken sandwich
From Stew's.
that any of us have ever had.
Any of us have ever had. So
Yeah.
far it looks good.
It's not even.
I mean, I could go back in there and put something on it, I guess.
Look at the
yeah, pickles.
2 pickles.
This looks like a good sandwich, if you ask me.
Nice. It would have been nice to linger in Schenectady, but we had a full day ahead of us. We spent almost the whole day traversing Montgomery County, biking to Amsterdam in the morning, and continuing on past Fultonville and Fonda to Fort Plain, where we spent our second night camping by a lock. It was a real tour of the Mohawk Valley. The Mohawk Valley was once known as a center of industry, and we saw a fair amount of that was still going on. Amsterdam, New York used to be the carpet manufacturing center of the United States. Today, not so much. We spent the second night in Fort Plain. a small town on the far edge of Albany's media market. We pitched our tent at a lock by the Mohawk River, definitely the most scenic camping spot on the journey, and it was free. The third day took us through Herkimer County and into Oneida County, past many former industrial towns in the Mohawk Valley, such as the quaint city of Little Falls, to the city of Utica, where we were granted gracious hospitality by Liam's aunt. Utica is the butt of a lot of jokes, but any amateur comedian who uses Utica in their material should at least be familiar with their subject. On our way from Utica to Syracuse, we stopped at Fort Stanwix. If you want to learn a lot about Revolutionary War history, stop by and ask for Ranger Willie Scott Jr. I would consider Rome, New York to be the last city in the Mohawk Valley on our journey. We now enter the part of the canal where the towns exist only because the canal was built there. They're purely 19th century settlements, rather than pre-colonial ones. On the fourth day, we camped at Green Lake State Park, 10 miles east of Syracuse. While the lakes are indeed green and beautiful, the close quarters of the campsite made this the least pleasant night in my book. Luckily, our friend Sam Schneider brought us nourishment. By midday next day, we'd arrived in Syracuse. This is a view from our hotel room looking out onto Syracuse University. I highly recommend the Onondaga Creek Walk. It's a beautiful urban path that leads you from downtown Syracuse to an inlet connecting to the Onondaga Lake. Salt City Market is a new food court in downtown Syracuse that opened up earlier in 2021. A great development in my opinion. Camillus Landing was the halfway point of the trip. Felt like such a great accomplishment. Onward now, into storied western New York. Towns named for antiquity like Jordan, Memphis, and Palmyra dot the path which runs parallel to Lake Ontario, from Syracuse on to the Lion of the West, Rochester, New York. Seeing Josh Allen in the Wegmans was a sure sign that we were entering Bill's territory. Between Syracuse and Rochester, we camped in Newark, New York at a sort of trailer park. I honestly enjoyed my experience here a lot more than the Green Lake State Park since we had plenty of space and the bathroom was right next to us. Now, I've been to Rochester a few times before, but this time everyone on the trip agreed that there was something indescribably interesting about this city. We really enjoyed ourselves here.
drone fixed.
Yeah.
You ordered a drone part.
Biking through western New York proved to be extremely difficult. The wind was brutal. If someone had asked me how I was doing at that time, I might have said something like,
I'm not doing too good.
There's something about ending up in Buffalo with a view of Lake Erie and a bustling city to explore that fills one up with even more pride than is already deserved for having completed this 363-mile journey. Well, thanks for sticking through the video. I hope you enjoyed this journey from Albany to Buffalo, and I'll see you next time on the DC Show.